Hi, can you state your full name and your grade?
Yeah, I'm Nicholas Jeske. I'm a senior.
In Trump's State of the Union speech, he talked about the need to reform prison laws so that people who committed misdemeanors and minor offenses shouldn't have such high sentences, and he even told a story about a woman that he reduced her sentence. What are your thoughts on that?
Just independent of any of that, like, I think I agree with that statement in terms of prison sentences being a little bit too harsh on misdemeanors and shorter sentences and things of that manner. But, like, for example, in Florida, actually, recently, there was a law passed where, well, not passed, but there was a law put in place where they were recommending that people who had been convicted of crime shouldn't have their the crime sort of follow them throughout their lives, because even after they completed their sentences, they still had problems with voting, problems with getting jobs, things like that. I think that similarly carries over into what he said. Yeah, I agree with it.
Okay, thank you.
Can you tell me your first and last name and your grade?
All right, Dominic Bottini, and I'm in 10th grade.
Okay, so last night was the State of the Union address, and Trump spoke about some of his policies. He talked about, once again, funding the wall for immigration, and he talked about removing troops from Syria, and he's against late-term abortion. What are your feelings on any of those policies?
I do agree with removing troops from Syria. I feel like at this point the war's been going on for more than a decade now. I think it is definitely pointless at this point to be wasting funds on that. I don't agree with his immigration policies in any way, shape, or form. Like, I do agree that we need a stronger, immigration policy. That feels weird to say that.
Okay.
But I don't agree with, like, building a wall or anything. I do think heightened security is a good idea. But especially, like, with the shutdown of the Dreamers program, that was definitely, I was not a fan of. But not the greatest fan of his presidency, but yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else you would like to add?
Not really. I mean, I've never been really political, so.
Okay.
Just my 2
What's
cents.
your first and last name and your grade?
My name is Johnny Liu, and I am a senior, grade 12.
Okay, so in Trump's State of the Union speech, he talked about the need for unity and bipartisanship, and he even expressed that there shouldn't be an investigation into him because it'll hurt legislation. What are your thoughts on that?
I feel like they should have a union, like they should come together. I mean, because I feel like it's kind of important for our nation to, like, you know, to not be like so split apart. But at the same time, I mean, I feel like each side has their, you know, different views, and they should. I mean, they shouldn't like. They should come to a compromise at the very least.
Okay, thank you.
Can you tell me your full name and your grade?
I'm Lycia Zavala, and I'm a senior.
Okay, so what are your opinions about this being the highest number of women in Congress? And last night at the State of the Union address, Trump talked about his disapproval of late-term abortion. What are your opinions on both of those?
Well, I think it's amazing how we have more women in Congress. So we have different opinions and point of views from a woman's perspective. And then the abortion thing, I mean, I don't really know what to say about that.
Okay, is there anything else you want to add?
No.
Thank you.
Your full name and your grade?
James Nguyen, grade 12.
Okay, and James, yesterday in the President's State of the Union speech, a lot of the Congresswomen were wearing white to show unity.
I'm glad that we have the right to express ourselves and freedom of speech, and if they want to do that, then I wholeheartedly embrace that.
Okay, thank you.
Hello. What is your first and last name and grade?
Delaney Holloway, 12th grade.
Okay, so how do you feel about the Congresswomen all wearing white at the State of the Union address to show unity?
Well, I feel like the women coming together is kind of an important statement, especially in this sort of climate with everything going on with obviously the president, the Me Too movement. It's just like an entire climate of women coming together and showing support for one another. I think that it's important that the women in Congress are showing that they are supporting one another and coming together, and that's it.
And then how do you feel about this being the highest number of women in Congress?
Well, clearly I think it's a great thing, just because it shows how we've kind of progressed, and I think it'll open a lot of doors, like new opportunities, new ideas, new perspectives. So I think it's a good thing.
Okay, Is there anything else you want to add?
Hi, can you state your full name and your grade?
Hi, I'm Jade Mention, and I'm in 12th grade.
Okay, and can you just briefly talk about how in Trump's State of the Union speech last night, he talked about how there should be funding for a border wall along Mexico? What do you think about that?
I think that's bullcrap. I mean, they shouldn't come here illegally, but I mean, there's no point of a wall. That's financial money you could use towards benefiting us.
And he also talked about pulling troops out of Syria and Afghanistan. What are your thoughts on that?
I'm not for war, so I feel like avoiding it is the best decision.
Okay. And he also talked about how he was against late-term abortions. What are your opinions?
I think that's bullcrap as well. Women should have the right to decide what goes in their body, and yeah.
Okay, and then finally, a lot of women, a lot of congresswomen last night wore white to show unity. What are your
That's
thoughts?
a great idea. That's showing like there's women power in the government.
Okay. Anything else to add?
No, that's it.
Okay, thank you so much. Last name and your grade?
Jalen Harris, sophomore.
Okay, and have you seen Trump's State of the Union speech?
No.
Okay, well, he talked about pulling troops out of Syria and Afghanistan, late-term abortions, and still funding the wall for with the border of Mexico. What are your thoughts on those?
That's not it, Chief.
It's not it?
No.
No, you don't support any of those?
No.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much.